Okay, welcome to another update. This one is concerning Thargoid attacks and the return of salvation. For the last month, Thargoid attacks have become heavier and heavier. We've seen systems in incursion for several weeks, with Thargoid presences being reinforced as fast as they're being defeated, and stations being on fire, going into repair, then being on fire again. 3 weeks ago, we had 14 stations on fire. 2 weeks ago, we had 17. Last week, 19. And this week, there are 24 burning stations in the Coalsack, Pleiades, and Witchhead sectors. That's the highest number of burning stations we've had since the Second Thargoid War began. The very first station to be attacked was 4 years ago, on the 15th of December 3303. Now, we don't know if the Thargoids notice things like human anniversaries, but humans certainly do. And it's possibly no coincidence that this week there are various things happening to do with the Thargoid narrative. Salvation has been blamed for these more ferocious attacks because of the superweapon he deployed in Cornsar. That cleared the entire system of Thargoids, and after it was used, all of the non-human signal sources vanished, and the wrecks of Thargoid ships littered the planets and moons in the Cornsar system. Now, this seems a bit silly to me. As I've said before, if you've been watching any of my streams, if you've been following this story with me, then you'll know that I think it's a bit silly to talk about provocative weapons, because every weapon is provocative. And what do they think fighting the aliens for 3 years, 4 years now has done, if it hasn't been provoking them? But yeah, it seems pretty certain that Salvation's new superweapon has shocked the Thargoids a bit, and now their attacks are more ferocious than ever. But it was going to go that way anyway. The situation has been locked in a stalemate for some time now. The Thargoids attack, stations burn, the anti-Xeno conflict zones get defeated by AXI while others do rescues. The Thargoids get driven off, stations get repaired, time passes, and then it happens all over again. And this game of galactic ping-pong has been dragging on for 4 whole years now. So sooner or later something had to give. Either with a new weapon to settle the war, or turn the course of it, or change the course of it, or a way to communicate with the Thargoids being found or something. But something had to happen to move events on, break the deadlock, and do something with this situation that's been hanging around for 4 years with neither side getting anywhere. So for me, people who blame Salvation for this are missing the point. Someone was eventually going to develop a more effective weapon, so it was when, not if. And if it hadn't been this new character created for the story, Salvation, it would have been Aegis, or it would have been Sirius, or it would have been somebody else. So anyway, this week we see Salvation stepping in again, and there's 4 community goals devoted to him. 3 of the community goals are delivering supplies for 3 more uses of Salvation's superweapon in Delphi, Maya, and Merope. They were given a deadline of Tuesday to succeed. You might remember that the last one was given a deadline for Monday. All 3 have been completed already. So we will see Salvation's superweapon deployed in Delphi, Maya, and Merope. And if it's like last time, I would expect those 3 systems to be cleared of Thargoid presences by Wednesday morning. Wednesday morning being the 4th anniversary of the first station attack. Coincidence? Nah, come on. We're people. We don't do coincidence. We make things happen at the same time. So we can say, oh look, what a coincidence, when we actually had a hand in it. Anyway, the 4th goal runs until Thursday the 16th, and it's a request from Ram Tar. He's the engineer who gives you the mission Decoding the Ancient Ruins, where you travel to over 100 Guardian sites, decoding and collecting information for him about Guardian history and culture. Now he's asking that you bring Salvation's deliveries to him instead, so he can analyse them and work out what the superweapon is. There are 2 tiers to reach, but only the first tier needs to be reached for him to analyse the weapon. If tier 2 is reached, then the deliveries that were done to get to tier 2, they will be used in future tests. So the first tier has already been reached. So we will find out something about Salvation's super weapon from Ramtar, and there's a good chance of tier 2 being reached by Thursday. This is interesting for two reasons. Firstly, because often community goals have been accused of being unbalanced or even biased, with rewards favouring one side or the other, and often with one side clearly ahead by the end of the weekend. Yet the recent community goal, where you could deliver goods for the Scrivener's Dredger, or deliver data to Orion University, was one of the closest we've ever seen. The result went all the way to the last minute, with the Scriveners only just winning. And similarly, with these latest CGs, all of them are likely to be completed, even though one of them is in opposition to the other three. And the second reason why I find this interesting is because, up until now, we've had no way of independently verifying anything that we've been told. And those of you who've been following my series on this story have probably heard me complaining about the story leading us by the nose and asking us to take a leap of faith and picking a side with no way to check the truth of anything, which I've personally found to be a little bit frustrating, even though I'm loving the story itself. What we are told will still be controlled, I'm sure, when we get this information from Ramtar, and I expect it to ask as many questions as it answers. That's par for the course. But at least we have someone other than Salvation who may be able to provide us with an explanation of what Salvation is doing. Taken with a pinch of salt, probably, because they've already prejudged him to be reckless and irresponsible, which is authority speak for he's not one of us, so he must be a criminal. You know, we don't know his mum, so yeah, he must be a bad one. But finally, something strikes me as odd about this. We have till Tuesday to deliver for Salvation, but until Thursday to deliver to Ramtar. Salvation's irrelevant because the deliveries have been done, but he's already got what he needs. So further deliveries are pointless. So why allow deliveries to be picked up and taken to Ramtar all the way up until Thursday? We'll have to see what happens on Tuesday or Wednesday, but giving people more of your kit to analyse when they've already slandered you and judged you to be reckless and irresponsible and even a criminal seems like a pretty dumb move to me. Have FDev pulled a fast one here, making people think they have till Thursday, then cutting off the supply 2 days early, or will they let it run the distance for Ramtar? It could be they just haven't thought it through, but that seems a bit crazy to me. Why would you carry on giving your enemies ammunition to use against you? People who haven't even tried to understand you before deciding that you're a reckless, irresponsible criminal escalating the Thargoid war. I mean, what were we supposed to do? Have it all go round and round and round in circles for another 4 years? No. And as I've said before on these things, you know, there's a lot of people who are accusing other players of blindly following Aegis, or blindly following Salvation, or blindly following someone else. But what choice do we have but to pick a side when we're only given binary choices? It's not about fanatically following one side or the other. It's about players judging for themselves what they think will move this story on or reveal more information about the characters and events in the story. So it's not even about blind fanaticism or devotion to one organisation or another, but simply that we've all been watching this deadlock, this stalemate, this game of Wimbledon between the humans and the Thargoids for the last 4 years, and something's got to give. So watch this space this week, because even if Thargoids don't do anniversaries, people do. And my gut feeling tells me that this week a lot of things are going to kick off, possibly building up to some big event for Christmas. I'll keep you informed as soon as I have something informative to tell you. Thanks for watching.